Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today we're out here about 7:15 in the evening. It's still in the upper 90s. We want to go ahead and do a garden tour. We're going to focus on the front garden and the side garden. Okay, so we are currently in the midst of a heat wave. We've experienced several days at 100 degrees or higher. The garden is actually holding up pretty good. I was actually thinking earlier that I have more blooms in my garden than I ever had before at this time of the year. So I'm feeling really good about it. I'm gonna go ahead and start by showing you, I found this table and chairs on the side of the road. My neighbor was getting rid of it. It's all rusty and banged up. And so I'm gonna be cleaning this up in the next few videos, painting it and utilizing it for the backyard. And these are a couple of plants, some Goldstrom Rebecca that I picked up from Covington's not long ago. These were 50% off, which was very exciting. I'm gonna get Jeff to swing this way so he doesn't have to look into the sun. Okay, one thing I want y'all to notice as we're going through these gardens, remember I did all that planting of that lantana earlier in the season, and now it is really starting to take over the garden. This particular lantana, this one variety is called Confetti. It is an annual lantana, so it will die back. But I had all these little starts throughout, and now that a lot of other things are starting to die back, the lantanas are really starting to come forward, which is what's really kept my garden really nice and lush. I do have a little quick fire hydrangea over here that ironically, these are its old blooms. It's starting to put off some new blooms, which I really find interesting. It's never done that before. And I'm going to show y'all my limelight hydrangea, which is acting a little bit different than it typically has in the past. Now, I definitely still have a lot of salvia still coming up, looking really beautiful. I do need to cut back in a few areas just to start to prepare for the fall. Now, I did want to point back to the purple fountain grass in this container right there. And actually, let me walk back there. Okay, I had planted up this purple fountain grass and cut back the petunias dramatically, and look how beautiful this container is filled back in with just a few weeks. And then this grass is going to get taller, and then we will add some additional blooms in here for fall planting. You can see that that petunia that I had cut back dramatically is coming back beautifully. And of course, we've got this white verbena off to the side, which is looking really, really nicely. And I think it really complements this purple heart up here, how this is really getting dramatic and starting to get long. The purples tie in nicely. And then over here towards my left, I had done a dramatic cutback of all the coleus in here. And I actually just did my second cutback, and it's already bursting back out, producing a lot more leaves. So I feel like this area is absolutely gorgeous. This is an area that I want to change up for fall. So kind of nervous because it's looking so good. And when fall comes around, do I just leave it? I don't know. I've been growing all these flowers for these beautiful fall containers, and everything still looks really nice, which is fabulous. Okay, so let's talk about the limelight hydrangea here. You can see all its beautiful blooms looking really good. Typically in the past, I deal with this, and I'm gonna let Jeff come closer to show y'all. It's kind of like this kind of coppery rust look on the leaves. And I am getting some of it right now. But I'm not getting tons. Usually it's so bad that it covers the whole entire plant. And by this time, basically all the leaves have fallen off my limelight hydrangeas. Now, I've tried treating it with fungicide. I've tried a lot of different things. This year, the biggest thing that I did differently is I really cut back my hydrangeas significantly in that there is not as many blooms and branches as it usually has. It usually has double this amount. And I think that perhaps airflow is a really big part of keeping this healthy. You can see a lot of its blooms are already kind of starting to come forward right here. Ironically, this plant did the same thing that my little quickfire hydrangeas did. It gave me a round of blooms, and then it gave me another round of blooms. You can see coming in different areas. So this is a fresh bloom coming up. And I thought that was really interesting because it's never done that in the past for me. So I don't know why all of a sudden decided to do it this year, but it is what it is. So I've really enjoyed having the contrast of this black dragon coleus back here from seed. And then in front, I've got this Calacha Sunset coleus, which has gotten a little bit bleached out from the sun, but it's still looking really nice. And then I've got the confetti lantana through it. So this whole area is goals because basically you can't see any soil. Like that is the ultimate goal of my gardening journey, is to get to the point where I can't see any soil, so I have much less weeds, which is super fun. Now back here, I also planted an additional fountain grass back here. It is getting a little bit more shade, so I don't feel like it's getting as much to the purple tone, but still really pretty and will continue to fill in for the fall. And then right beside it, my Persian shield is just stunning. I am obsessed with this and I want to use it every year. This is the first year in a while that I've used it at this particular house. But I am loving the look of it. I love how it covers the base of the crepe myrtle there, and I just think it adds a lot of color and texture through the foliage and not necessarily through blooms. Okay, so continuing the lantana, I do have, I think it's Luscious Marmalade by Proven Winners lantana up front, which is this bright bold orange, which I really ended up liking, and I think in the future I'd like to have more orange tones. I think would be great. I've also got some of these profusion zinnias tucked into the front that have been doing okay. Now, I do think I have an armadillo that is hanging around my garden because I've had some of my zinnia plants dug up. I've had some holes in some random places, and I've had some daffodil bulbs dug up, which is not fun. My summerific hibiscus, this is cherry choco latte, is still blooming, not as frequently as it was, and it is getting munched up by something, so I thought about trimming it back in a few areas. It's been munched up, like this particular branch. So I thought about cutting it back in a few areas just to encourage some more blooms. So we do still have blooms coming, which is lovely, and I'm really happy we still do. Now this right here is already closing up for the evening. This is my Texas rock rose. Beautiful, just kind of whimsical look to it, and it has these beautiful pink flowers. It loves the heat and does great at this time of the year. And then right in front of it, I have a Calamintha nepeta, which I have yet to cut back. It is just keeps blooming its head off. Like, it is gorgeous. And if Jeff comes closer, it is covered with pollinators. Just watch for a minute. And you can see all of the busyness and excitement of all these pollinators all over this Calamintha nepeta. But I love it. I would not mind having more of this plant. I think the bursts of white is just really pretty and feels very refreshing at this time of year. Okay, back in here we have done some trimming on some of these Grape Queen asters back here, and they are starting to put off fresh foliage, which is really good because that means it's preparing for the fall. Let me step back here because I see some phlox back here that apparently bloomed and then fell over. I'm going to pull it up. So this was supposed to be, Dad, you might have to come around the other side, Jeff. Interestingly enough, this phlox, I believe, was supposed to be a coral color. I'll have to look it up. I had ordered it from Blue Stone Perennials, and I thought it was supposed to be a bright coral color. So this does not look correct, but I could be wrong. I mean, it was a couple of years ago. Happy to see that it bloomed. So you can see some other areas right here where I've had like, you can see that something's been digging in here. So like this is the top of a plant, but a bunch of the soil has been moved away from it in different places, which is kind of interesting. This was the Artemisia and the Coreopsis, pink Coreopsis, which is blooming. Jeff might have to walk all the way back around again. Hold up. So I had added in these 3 Coreopsis and a couple of Artemisia, and you can see that this Coreopsis is starting to bloom these sweet little pink flowers. And the goal with these is that these plants will spread out, take over this whole area over here so that we can reduce and cut back on weeds. Okay, so right here I've got my Dallas red lantana. I had a couple of people ask me about this and if this particular plant was doing well. This is one plant right here. It's obviously doing beautiful. Love the red color. Would love to have more of this in my garden next year. Now this can be a perennial. Sometimes it's a perennial if we have like a really laid back winter where it doesn't get too brutally cold. But this is absolutely gorgeous. I would love for it to come back year after year for me. Now, I did cut back a ton of my dahlias, and they're putting off all new growth, which is looking nice. I do have some zinnias that are right at the end now, so I probably need to take some time and cut those back and out. And then I have lost some plants like this. This is a dianthus back here that is just hasn't looked good in a really long time, so it's all dead and nasty down here. So we'll probably be replacing that in the near future. Now heading back this direction, I've got another of the purple fountain grass tucked in here with some profusion zinnias across the front, and this will continue to get larger and fill in this space. I do have my Caryopteris, one of my Caryopteris. I have it in blue and in pink, that is putting on lots and lots of growth, and I cannot wait for it to start blooming its head off. It will bloom end of summer into fall. And then I'm really liking I need to come back and spend some time cleaning it out. This is my Helen von Stein lamb's ear, which is, this originally started with one plant and I have divided it over the years, and I just keep moving it around to different places and it keeps filling in. It'd be nice to kind of start running it across the front here to kind of create a border. Now this right here is the Proven Winners Pugster butterfly bush that was not doing well. It was just ravished by spider mites, so I cut it back dramatically. And these right here are giant weeds. I think it's like called like a horsetail or something. Massive weeds. So go ahead and pull those out. See, everybody has weeds. So those were there. And then I've got my meteor showers verbena, which is definitely, Jeff can come closer and show you a lot of the damage. It's definitely struggled from spider mites, and we are starting to get powdery mildew on it. so it isn't looking as nice at this point. I really need to spend some time coming in and harvesting so that I can enjoy a lot of these blooms before they are done for the season. Okay, so I have been thinking, I've been looking at some arches trellis that would go against this wall that I'm kind of looking at, and I was looking at them on Wayfair. I put up a picture of it, and I was thinking like a trio of them right here. So let's see what y'all think. I'm not sure that they would hold up because I think they're made out of like bamboo or wicker, so I'm not sure how long they would actually hold up over the years. Now, I do have a beautiful, this is an Italian stone pine that is filling in beautifully in this container. It's got a few zinnias in front of it, kind of spilling out everywhere. And I see more weeds back here, more giant weeds. And I'm pulling these now because they are starting to bloom at the top, which means they're going to drop their seeds. But I really do like the combination of the peach zinnias with the purple meteor showers verbena, which I think looks really good. I do have my spirea. Okay, on this area, my Ruby Falls Weeping Red Bud is starting to kind of get a little bit misshapen. I'm really thinking about when fall gets here, I'm going to take out some of these massive branches in the front because it seems to all be kind of pulling forward, and I don't want it to all come forward. So that's kind of my thought process on that. Now, underneath I planted first a variety of vincas that did very poorly. And then I planted, here's another, see, this is just a plant pulled up from the armadillo. Let me get that tucked back in. And there's bulbs pulled up in different places. And you can see like all of this soil up here, this is all an armadillo. Just kind of coming through and digging up what he wants out of here. But I started with a variety of vincas. Some did okay, most did poorly, and then I came back and I filled in with the zinnias. And I have an open patch right here. This is where the armadillo came and pulled up a bunch, and he's just been digging up bulbs and just enjoying life and having himself a little smorgasbord. But I definitely think I need to trim back some of these front parts of the Ruby Falls Weeping Red Bud. Now's a poor time. It's not a good time. It's way too hot. But I think that'd be nice to kind of even it up because it really is kind of getting really front heavy at this point in time. Now scanning to this direction, here's my other spirea. It's looking really pretty. This spirea is in better shape than the other one. When I cut this back dramatically, it was a little, shocking, but you can see how beautifully they fill back in over time. And you can see some more of the Helen Von Steen lamb's ear filling in nicely. Now this area, this container right here has a rose in here. I think this one was Princess Charlene de Monaco, and tons of purslane around it. Now the purslane is closed for the evening. And then I had cut back my purple bellflowers, and never have they bloomed for me again, and this year they did. They bloomed back for me when I cut them back, which is super exciting. I do have a lot of this purple coneflower, which I started from bare root this year. This could use a little bit of a trim back to see if we can get another round coming. And I do have a bluebird aster, which is putting off a lot of growth here. Okay, so this is a portion of the side yard that I recently did a lot of work on. I did a lot of cleanup for the iris, which are looking really beautiful. The containers aren't looking as great right now, but they're fine. I'm pleased with them for this time of the year. I did a nice cutback on these chocolate cosmos here, and I'm already seeing a lot of new growth flushing in, which is lovely. I was trying to save these dianthus across the front. I think these are like Proven Winners Paint the Town Magenta or something like that. And they are not having it. So most likely we're going to let those dianthus go. And most likely I'll just come through with an additional perennial to fill in the space. We got a lot of grass coming in this space. So it might be good anyway to just dig up these dianthus and kind of dig up all the grass there as well. I had planted in a couple of new sedums that I had in another container just to start filling in this space, which is looking good. And right over here is the Windwalker Red Salvia that we cut back dramatically, but you can see it's already starting to flush back a lot of greenery. And this is also the area where I'm going to be putting that Goldstrum Rebecca that I just picked up. They're going to be going back towards that space over there. Now coming across the front, I am seeing some damage from grasshoppers. You can see that they've been kind of having their way with this particular iris right here and munching on it. Not too bad, but annoying all the same. And I'm really enjoying this, I'm pulling weeds as we're going through, this kaleidoscope abelia right here. So it has some really beautiful paler colors and variegation that I think really fills in this area nicely. Now I definitely have some areas that can be cut back. This is my wild berry powwow coneflower. That could be cut back. I definitely have, oh come, there's a dragonfly over here, sweetie. I definitely have roses that could be cut back. He's right there. He's not moving, so I don't know if he's sleeping and taking a nap or what. It's pretty though. It kind of has iridescent color to him. But it looks like some of the roses needed to be deadheaded. All the roses that I ended up putting in the ground have done beautifully. So I'm very pleased with them. I think it was the right choice, even though technically I planted them twice this year, first in containers and then in the ground. And you can see how much something like this Orange Rocket Barberry, look how much color and interest this adds to the space. If this was green instead of red, this whole space would be kind of lost. But by having this pop of red, it really adds a lot of interest to the space and allows other things to stand out. Now, all of this Cat's Pajamas Nepeta is starting to flush forward. Right here, we got a random volunteer sunflower, and we have lots of beautiful Russian sage, which could also use a little bit of a trim back at this point in time. I have a huge flush of guara coming out the front that looks like it's getting ready to start blooming. Okay, I was just telling Jeff, I wonder if I'm going too fast, but y'all, it is brutally hot. So the smoke bush is beautiful. It's all of this kind of burgundy tone is a new growth. So it's putting off tons of new growth and filling in nicely. Back here, I also thought about tucking in one of those Goldstrum Rebecca back into this corner over here. I thought would look really nice and fill in nicely. And then back here is my Belinda's Dream Rose that's been putting off buds periodically, and we filled in the base of it with some more of the zinnias, which I think is looking really nice. You can see like there's lots of dirt coming over in different areas, and I can tell where that armadillo has been hanging out. Hopefully he will have moved on to other places for the time being. Hopefully he found what he was looking for and now he's done, but I don't know, we'll see. I've never really dealt with wildlife like that before that actually has created destruction where I can actually visually see it. But we'll see. Hopefully we won't have too much more of that. So anyway, the side garden is a really fun project. This was my big COVID project, so this is 4 years worth of work here. I have messed up in several places and changed several things along the way. And I will say I think gardening is a constant journey. I don't think a garden's ever truly done. I think you can make changes. Plants don't last forever too. So I think this space is really just starting to fill in beautifully. I think it adds a lot of aesthetic to our house, and I purposely drive by the side of the house all the time so I can look at this garden. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really getting excited about the fall, all the things that I've started from seed. I mean, we're within 4 to 6 weeks of planting all that out. I cannot wait. We're going to actually be able to put a lot on the side garden, which I typically don't do much with during the fall because at that time I just don't typically have the money to go and buy stuff for the front and the side garden. Typically I just focus on the front, but because I grew so much from seed, it's going to be a really great year for the fall garden, so I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, so thanks so much for going with me. Now we're not doing a full garden tour doing the backyard too because it is just brutally hot and I can't be out here for that long. And we literally had to wait till 7:15 at night to actually get out here to be able to do it. So I hope you guys just enjoyed seeing some details of the front and the side garden, and then we'll do a separate one for the backyard because the backyard truthfully has grown so much this year. It's probably at least doubled in size considering the additional raised gardens I put in, the new paths, the new archways, and the shade garden. So it's a lot bigger and it kind of does well for its own tour. But I hope y'all enjoyed today's tour. Let me know how your garden is holding up in this crazy hot weather. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you guys like and comment, it helps grow the channel so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, feel free to just drop me an emoji below letting me know that you made it all the way to the end of the video. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.